If you are over 60 and you pour olive oil over almost everything because you have heard that it protects the heart, cleans the arteries, reduces inflammation, and helps you live longer, stop for a moment. Olive oil can certainly be part of a healthy diet, but one common mistake may quietly cancel many of the benefits you expect from it. That mistake is adding olive oil to your meals without removing any of the unhealthy fats or excess calories already present. In other words, people often treat olive oil like a medicine that must be added on top of breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But olive oil works best as a replacement, not as an unlimited supplement. After the age of 60, this difference becomes especially important because changes in appetite, activity level, digestion, muscle mass, and metabolism can make every daily food habit more significant. Before continuing, remember that turning 60 does not suddenly make olive oil dangerous. There is no magical birthday after which your body can no longer tolerate it. The real issue is how you use it, how much you use, what you eat with it, how you store it, and what you believe it can do. Used intelligently, olive oil can be an excellent source of unsaturated fat. Used carelessly, it can contribute hundreds of unnoticed calories, aggravate digestive discomfort in certain people, and create a false sense of protection while the rest of the diet remains unhealthy. Scientific research has linked Mediterranean-style eating patterns, especially those rich in vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, nuts, fish, and extra virgin olive oil, with better cardiovascular outcomes. In the well-known Predimed trial, adults at high cardiovascular risk who followed a Mediterranean diet supplemented with extra virgin olive oil or nuts experienced fewer major cardiovascular events than people following the comparison diet. However, the important word here is diet. The benefits did not come from swallowing olive oil in isolation. They came from an entire eating pattern in which olive oil was used alongside nutritious foods and often replaced less favorable fats. This is where the biggest misunderstanding begins. Some people continue eating large amounts of butter, fatty processed meats, cheese, pastries, creamy sauces, fried food, and packaged snacks, then add 2 or 3 spoonfuls of olive oil because they believe it will neutralize the damage. It will not. Olive oil cannot erase excess sugar, excess sodium, smoking, inactivity, poor sleep, uncontrolled blood pressure, or a diet dominated by highly processed foods. It is not a shield that allows you to ignore everything else. The strongest heart-related evidence concerns replacing fats that are higher in saturated fat with unsaturated fats such as olive oil. Both the American Heart Association and the United States Food and Drug Administration emphasize the idea of substitution. Imagine 2 breakfasts. In the first breakfast, a person eats vegetables, beans, whole grain bread, and a small amount of olive oil instead of butter. In the second breakfast, a person eats processed meat, cheese, buttery bread, and then drinks a tablespoon of olive oil afterward. Those 2 meals do not have the same effect simply because both contain olive oil. In the first meal, olive oil is part of a balanced structure. In the second, it is simply an additional source of fat and calories. The bottle may be identical, but the context changes everything. This leads to another major mistake after 60, pouring without measuring. Olive oil feels light because it is liquid, but nutritionally it is still concentrated fat. 1 tablespoon provides roughly 120 calories. 2 tablespoons provide around 240 calories, and 4 provide close to 480 calories. That can be the energy equivalent of an entire meal for some older adults. These calories are not automatically harmful, but they still count. When olive oil is poured directly from a large bottle, the amount can easily become much greater than expected. All fats provide about 9 calories per gram, more than twice the energy supplied by the same weight of protein or carbohydrate. This matters because maintaining a healthy body composition becomes more challenging with age. Many people gradually lose muscle while gaining fat around the waist, even if their weight on the scale changes very little. Adding several hundred calories every day without realizing it may encourage further weight gain, especially when physical activity has decreased. Extra body weight can make blood sugar control, joint movement, sleep, blood pressure, and cardiovascular health more difficult. Olive oil may be a healthier type of fat than butter, but healthy fat is not calorie-free. A simple solution is to measure your olive oil for 1 or 2 weeks. You do not have to measure it forever. The purpose is to train your eyes. Put 1 teaspoon into a small dish and observe what it looks like. Then do the same with 1 tablespoon. Many people are surprised to discover that their normal pour contains 2 or 3 times the amount they imagined. Once you understand your usual portion, decide where olive oil provides the most value. Perhaps you need 1 teaspoon to cook vegetables and another teaspoon for a salad. You probably do not need to pour it on every plate simply because it has a healthy reputation. Now, let us address one of the most popular habits on the internet, drinking olive oil on an empty stomach. Videos frequently claim that a spoonful every morning will clean the liver, flush toxins from the intestines, lubricate the joints, dissolve abdominal fat, eliminate constipation, or remove plaque from the arteries. These promises are exaggerated. Your liver and kidneys already perform the body's normal detoxification functions. Olive oil does not scrape the arteries clean, and it does not selectively melt fat from your abdomen. It may be part of a diet that supports general health, but drinking it before breakfast does not transform it into a medical treatment. For some people, taking a small amount of olive oil alone may cause no problem. Others may experience nausea, loose stools, indigestion, abdominal discomfort, or an urgent need to use the bathroom, particularly when consuming a large quantity. This response is not proof that toxins are leaving the body. It may simply be the digestive system reacting to a concentrated dose of fat. A strong bowel movement is not evidence that your liver has been cleansed or that years of arterial plaque have disappeared. The more sensible way to consume olive oil is usually with food. Add a modest amount to tomatoes, leafy vegetables, beans, lentils, fish, eggs, or whole grains. Use it to make vegetables more enjoyable so that you eat more of them. Use it in place of butter or heavy cream when the recipe allows. Combine it with herbs, lemon juice, garlic, or vinegar to create flavor without relying on excessive salt. This approach gives olive oil a clear nutritional purpose rather than treating it as a daily ritual with miraculous expectations. There is another error that almost nobody notices until the oil already tastes unpleasant. Many people store the bottle directly beside the stove, on a sunny kitchen counter, or in a transparent decorative container. Heat, light, and oxygen gradually reduce the freshness and quality of olive oil. The attractive bottle beside the window may look beautiful, but it is one of the worst places to protect the oil. Extra virgin olive oil contains delicate aromatic and phenolic compounds, and poor storage accelerates degradation. Research and guidance from the University of California, Davis recommend keeping olive oil in a cool, dark location away from heat and using it within a reasonable period after opening. Store your bottle in a closed cabinet that is not immediately above or beside the oven. Close the cap tightly after every use. Buying an enormous container is not necessarily economical if it takes a year to finish and the oil becomes stale long before the bottle is empty. A smaller dark bottle that you use regularly may provide better quality than a huge transparent container exposed to air every day. Smell and taste the oil occasionally. Fresh extra virgin olive oil may have fruity, grassy, peppery, or slightly bitter notes depending on the olives. Oil that smells like old nuts, wax, crayons, stale dough, or musty cardboard may have become rancid. Rancid oil does not suddenly become a deadly poison, but it has lost the freshness, flavor, and quality you paid for. Do not keep using an unpleasant bottle simply because olive oil is expensive. Your goal is not merely to consume something with the words olive oil on the label. Your goal is to use a fresh product in a sensible quantity. Choosing the bottle also matters. Look for a clearly stated product type, a reliable producer, a best before date, and, when available, a harvest date. Extra virgin olive oil is the least refined category and usually contains more of the flavor and minor plant compounds people associate with high-quality olive oil. A bitter or peppery sensation is not automatically a defect. It may reflect the natural compounds in the oil. However, the most expensive bottle is not always necessary for every use. A flavorful extra virgin oil may be ideal for salads, vegetables, soups, or finishing a dish, while a milder olive oil may be chosen when you do not want a strong flavor. Another widespread claim is that you must never cook with olive oil because it immediately becomes toxic. This is also too simplistic. Olive oil, particularly good quality olive oil, has shown reasonable stability during many normal cooking conditions. Its high proportion of monounsaturated fat makes it more resistant to oxidation than many people assume, and studies have examined its performance during heating and frying. This does not mean you should deliberately burn it, leave it smoking for long periods, or repeatedly reuse the same oil. It means that ordinary cooking with olive oil is not automatically dangerous. The practical rule is simple. Use moderate heat whenever possible. If the oil is producing heavy smoke, the pan is too hot. Reduce the temperature and avoid breathing the fumes. Do not leave an oiled pan unattended. Most importantly, do not keep a pot of old frying oil and heat it again and again over several days. Repeated prolonged heating causes progressive chemical deterioration in cooking oils. Even if olive oil can tolerate heat relatively well, no oil remains fresh forever under extreme conditions. Cooking method matters more than the obsession over one precise smoke point. Gently sautéing onions, roasting vegetables, cooking fish, or preparing eggs is very different from overheating a small quantity of oil in an empty pan until the kitchen fills with smoke. The goal should be controlled cooking, not fear. You do not have to reserve olive oil exclusively for cold salads, but you should respect it as a food ingredient rather than testing how much heat it can survive. People over 60 should also pay attention to how their own digestive system responds. Olive oil is generally appropriate for many adults, but large fatty meals can trigger discomfort in some people with gallbladder disease, indigestion, or other digestive conditions. Gallbladder attacks often occur after heavy meals and can cause pain in the upper right part of the abdomen. This does not mean everyone with gallstones must completely eliminate healthy fats. It means symptoms should be evaluated, individual triggers should be taken seriously, and unexplained or severe abdominal pain should not be treated with another spoonful of oil. Seek medical attention if abdominal pain is severe, persistent, associated with fever, repeated vomiting, yellowing of the skin or eyes, dark urine, chest discomfort, fainting, or difficulty breathing. Do not assume every symptom is simply part of aging or a harmless digestive reaction. Olive oil is food. It is not a substitute for proper diagnosis or treatment. Medication is another reason to avoid making extreme dietary changes without guidance. People taking anticoagulants such as warfarin are often instructed to keep vitamin K intake reasonably consistent rather than making sudden changes from one day to the next. Olive oil contains some vitamin K, and certain oils may be included when health professionals review dietary sources. This does not mean olive oil must be avoided. It means that suddenly changing from almost no oil to consuming large daily quantities should be discussed with the professional managing your treatment. The same principle applies if you are following a medically prescribed diet for diabetes, kidney disease, heart failure, pancreatitis, gallbladder disease, unwanted weight loss, or obesity. Your ideal quantity may differ from someone else's. One person may need to reduce free pouring to control calories. Another older adult who is underweight and struggling to eat enough may benefit from using olive oil to add energy and flavor to nutritious meals. Advice must fit the individual. It is also important not to let olive oil push essential foods off the plate. As we age, preserving muscle becomes a priority. Olive oil provides fat, but it provides virtually no protein. Drinking several spoonfuls cannot replace eggs, fish, yogurt, beans, lentils, poultry, tofu, or other protein-rich foods. It also cannot replace fruits, vegetables, or whole grains. A healthy meal needs structure. Olive oil is one part of that structure, not the foundation of the entire diet. Here is a practical way to use it. At breakfast, choose a protein source and a fiber-rich food. Use a small measured amount of olive oil only when it improves the meal or replaces butter. At lunch, fill a large part of the plate with vegetables, include beans, fish, poultry, or another protein source, and add a modest amount of olive oil for cooking or dressing. At dinner, use it to prepare vegetables or season a balanced dish, rather than pouring it over an already rich meal. Across the day, notice the total quantity instead of treating each individual pour as insignificant. The greatest benefits are likely to appear when olive oil replaces butter, shortening, fatty sauces, or other sources of saturated fat, not when it is added to them. Observational research has associated higher olive oil consumption and replacing certain animal fats with olive oil with lower cardiovascular risk. But observational results do not prove that unlimited olive oil will protect everyone, and even supportive evidence does not turn it into a cure. So, after 60, what should you stop doing with olive oil? Stop pouring it automatically. Stop drinking it because a viral video promised to clean your organs. Stop assuming that more always means better. Stop storing it beside the stove. Stop repeatedly burning and reheating it. Stop believing that it can rescue an unhealthy diet. Most importantly, stop treating olive oil like a miracle medicine and start using it like what it truly is, a flavorful, calorie-dense, mostly unsaturated fat that can contribute to a healthy eating pattern when chosen carefully and used in the right context. You do not have to fear olive oil, and you do not have to remove it from your kitchen. Simply change the strategy. Measure before pouring. Replace rather than add. Combine it with vegetables, beans, whole grains, and quality protein. Protect the bottle from heat, light, and air. Pay attention to your digestion and medical needs. When used this way, olive oil becomes more than a fashionable health trend. It becomes a practical tool for building meals that are enjoyable, balanced, and sustainable. The final message is not that olive oil is bad after 60. The message is that even a healthy food can become unhelpful when it is misunderstood. Your body does not need extreme rituals. It needs consistency. It needs reasonable portions, nutritious meals, physical movement suited to your abilities, adequate sleep, and proper medical care. One spoonful will not transform your health overnight, but hundreds of intelligent choices made over months and years can make a meaningful difference. Now tell us in the comments how you currently use olive oil. Do you cook with it, add it to salads, or drink it in the morning? And after hearing this information, is there one habit you plan to change? Share this video with someone over 60 who believes that olive oil can be consumed without limits. Subscribe to the channel for more clear and practical health information. And remember, the healthiest choice is rarely the most extreme one. It is usually the one you can understand, measure, and continue safely every day.